I call the next part of the Dinner Special podcast the pressure cooker. I am going to ask you 7 fast and fun questions that we want to know your answers to. Are you up for it?
Okay. Yes, I am.
Okay, awesome. Number one, which food shows or food or cooking shows do you watch?
I don't watch a lot of cooking shows. People ask me this all the time, but yeah, I don't like watching people cook. I like reading about it.
Okay,
But if I had to pick one, I love watching Nigella's shows. She's so fun to watch, and she's so articulate and charming. I love it.
great. Number
Yeah.
two, what are some food blogs or food websites we have to know about?
Well, let's see. I guess everybody knows about AutoJet. So, besides that, a friend of mine writes a blog called Purple Foodie. Actually, she's one of the most famous bloggers here in India, and we became friends after that. But yeah, her blog is just amazing. She's such a talented, baker. She started out as a blogger, and she won the James Beard Scholarship, and she studied at Cordon Bleu, and now she's at the Alain Ducasse School in Paris,
Oh, wow.
and she's a pastry chef, and she's doing amazing things. So she still keeps her blog, and it's a pretty great blog.
Awesome. I haven't heard of
It's
it,
called
so definitely check it
Purple
out.
Foodie. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Number three, who do you follow on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, or Snapchat that make you happy?
Um, I don't use Snapchat very much, so I'm not gonna answer that. But Instagram, I love following Anne Street Studio. Have you heard about her?
No.
She's a photographer,
Okay.
and she does all sorts of. I think she's primarily a fashion photographer, but she also does food. She does travel, and her photos are just so beautiful. It just makes my day every time she posts. Yeah,
What's the account called again?
Anne Street Studio.
Okay, N Street Studio. Great.
Yeah.
Number four, what is the most unusual or treasured item you have in your kitchen?
I went to a vintage store recently in a town a few towns away from where I live, and I found this bowl. So, Food 52 has, I'm sure you're aware of how they have their online store, right? And they have the most beautiful things on it. But they don't ship outside the US and Canada, which is ridiculous. And there are these bowls on there, these jadeite bowls. I don't know if you've seen them. Um, they're green and sort of translucent, and the mixing bowls, and I've had my eyes on them forever. And recently I went to this vintage store, this antique store, and I found this bowl that was so similar to that, and it was awesome. I think it's my greatest find yet. So yeah, I would say my green mixing bowl.
Perfect. Number
Mhm.
five, name one ingredient you used to dislike that you now love.
Ingredient.
Hmm.
Hmm. I think I would say garam masala. Do you know what garam masala is? I
It's a
use
spice, right? It's a mix.
it's a spice blend
Right.
basically, and each family has its own version and its own proportions and things like that. And it's very strong, and you can add only very little to your dishes, otherwise it just overpowers the whole thing. And that was something I was never too fond of, because I feel like my taste buds are super sensitive to cumin. But as I'm growing older, I've I've learned to appreciate it in very, very small doses. So
Slowly
yeah,
but
garam
surely.
masala.
Great. Number six, what are a few cookbooks that make your life better?
Hmm. When I buy cookbooks, I buy a lot of cookbooks, but mostly it's to read rather than. I think um, I think this might be because, like I said, we live in this small town and we don't really have access to a lot of ingredients. So when I buy a book, I'm not really telling myself, okay, so I my next 20 meals are set. I'm going to cook it from this book. That's not how it works. I buy it because I want to see how people cook. I want to read about, the thought process that goes into their recipes and so on. So yeah, I think I mostly pick it up for the writing, and I love the way Nigel Slater writes. I think he's a fantastic writer, and I love Ripe. I've cooked one recipe from it, but it's my favorite cookbook. I have it by my bedside.
Great.
Yeah.
And finally, the last question: what song or album just makes you want to cook?
I have a cooking playlist. I think it's Frank Sinatra's best hits, and I only listen to it when I'm cooking. I think because I read somewhere that you need to have this one playlist or album or something like that. I think I read this a really long time ago, and so that you associate only good things with it.
Okay.
So yeah, I tried that and it actually works. So every time I'm in the kitchen by myself, not with my mother, she gets annoyed when we have music playing, but that's what I like to listen to.
Perfect. Well, congratulations, Aisha. You have officially survived the pressure cooker.
Thank you.